Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm going to cheat today. Today should be the Project Orchid video for orchid number 5, which would have been a repot. Now I forgot that's what I had in mind and I've already done the repot. So I'm just going to stick this introduction on the front of a video that's already been posted so that it fills the slot. Now I know it's a cheat and most of you will have already watched the video. But that's just how it's going to have to be. There's no point in trying to do an update, just days after repotting. So, but I want it to fill the slot so that when I look back over all of this, there is a video at the right point. We've lost days this month, so it's already out of sync for various reasons. But to get all 8 Project Orchids done in June is obviously not going to happen, but it's supposed to run on into July anyway. So yeah, we're up to orchid number 5, and then 6, 7 and 8 will be in July. But at the end of the day, this is the Project Orchid video for orchid number 5. And it has already been posted once, so I don't mind if nobody watches it. It's I mean, I don't get high numbers of views for the Project Orchid videos anyway, so but I've got so much to do today, I can't be making a totally separate video, so this is it, I'm afraid. A repeat of something you've already had, surrounded by the Project Orchids bits. Bit of contrivance. So anyway, see you next time. Bye for now. Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is going to be the first of the Cattleya types to come out of a holy clay pot. The reason this one's coming out is that it's filled the pot basically, and this little new growth here is right up against the edge of the pot. We also have a burst of life on the root front. Our other new growth is here. Now there would be plenty of room for that one. If that was the only new growth, I might leave it. But with this one coming out against the side of the pot, we need to get this out of the pot. And we might be doing something different, but you'll have to wait and see. Right, so to get this out of the pot, it's wired in. So first job is get the wire off, as it won't come out while that's still there, that's for sure. What I propose to do is cut the wire very close to the pot and then try and ease the wire back through the hole gently. As I said, I've got a lot of new root growth here. I don't want to go mad, just want to get the tip of the wire inside the pot. Don't need to take the wire off completely, we can wait till it comes out of the pot to do that. I just need to get the tip inside like that. Yeah, so, oh, it's broken anyway, so there we go. Right, now that one was quite easy. It depends how I fitted them. If I just tipped the end over like that, in all cases, then these should come off quite easily. Two. Let's get the label out of the way. Yes, I've been having a think about, it was actually, I was just going to say Michael McIntyre, Michael McCarthy. Actually reminded me of one of the reasons why these are coming out of the holy clay pots that I'd forgotten, and that is evaporative cooling. I've got cool temperatures in the winter now. I don't want to exaggerate those cool temperatures by actually having evaporative cooling, cooling my Cattleya roots even more. So there's another good reason for them coming out of the holy clay pot. And I've now given away the secret by saying we're going to do something different, because we are. Now, some of these roots that come out through the pot and stick, they're unlikely to make it, quite honestly, highly unlikely. They're just going to break off, especially ones like that. But we shall see. There's none coming out of the bottom of the pot. Now, sometimes you can just wiggle and the whole thing will come out like that. Roots didn't even get down to the bottom of the pot. But you can see loads of old dead tired roots here, lots. So we're not going to attempt to completely get everything off. And there's a solid mass of dead roots up under the centre of the plant. Well, we're going to have to get some of them off, that's for sure, because they will restrict the path of the new roots. So I'm just going to hack them. And that should create a pathway for all these new roots, providing I don't break them all off getting the old media out. And this media is not gone over as such, but this has been in this pot a while now. It's all this dead stuff I want out, and the associated media that's stuck to it. So it just forms like a solid mass, and roots can have trouble getting down through that. So by having a dig round, it should open up the base of the plant a bit. I'm surprised actually, because some of the really large pieces of bark are right up near the base of the plant. Normally I would only use those for crocking. You know, I mean this big stuff like this. Do you know, that's been in that pot quite a long time. That is still rock hard. This is that one-off bark that I got that I can't get again, sadly, because it is rock hard. And that's, you know, that's used bark now. That's been in a pot and had water poured on it frequently, and you know, been allowed to age, and it's still rock hard. If only that could be repeated. Now that came from Spiceotics. Where they got it from, I don't know. But wherever they got it from, I believe the source dried up. It was a sort of one-off. There was a reason for it not being able to get to the UK to be sold, and it may well have been something to do with CITES, the actual type of bark, and therefore the tree that it came from might have gone on to a protected list for whatever reason. And it could be something as simple as that, is that the tree type suddenly became, you know, such that lots of paperwork would be needed to move even the bark. Right, I've still got some solid areas that I would like to tease. We are getting very close to new root tips now. See this new growth here up against the side of the pot, there's several little root tips there. Well, they'll now have space, they'll have somewhere to go, and hopefully they'll stop pointing upwards and start growing downwards. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get much more than that out, I don't think. Do you know what? This is 2 plants. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's 2 plants. See, the trouble is, that's not the sort of thing I note. You know, that's not the sort of thing I write in my in my notes. I do now, because with the Oncidium types that you buy, it's almost always 2 plants in the pot. That's how they get 2 flower spikes. I encourage you to buy. It's one of their little games they play to get you to actually purchase the thing. cool, look at this plant, it's really good, it pushes up 2 spikes at once. Yeah, no it doesn't. And you get it home and it never does it again. Right, so we have 2 plants. This is the bright red Cattleya with the cluster flowers. It is the sort of Cattleya that would sell. Definitely, because of the brightness and vibrance of the colour of the blooms. It's also got something else going for it that's rare with Cattleyas. It grows bolt upright. That's never been wired. Look at the pseudobulbs. They're bolt upright and they're tight together, very short rhizomes. That's how it grows. So you don't have to worry about staking and all that sort of stuff. It just grows naturally upright, which is good. Now this is a weaker piece. Oh no, the new growth's been broken. Well, it's a strong section with lots of roots coming out. It will push another one out. That's a shame. I didn't notice that, I must admit. I didn't see how that happened. Highly lightly as it came out of the pot, as I grabbed hold of the whole plant. Highly lightly. That's a shame. That's not the first time I've done that on a Cattleya, and I'm sure it won't be the last. Now I'm just looking at the moment at these dead scale that are just falling off. I did go round a while ago and sort of get rid of the bodies of the scale. There are no live scale on these plants, so the hot box is working, but it's not working at the moment. In fact, it's not being put on at all at the moment, and there's a very good reason for that. The reason is the hot box needs to work in a still environment, which means all the fans have got to go off. And in this heat that we've got at the moment, I'm not prepared for my leaves to start heating up to that extent. So I'm leaving the fans on and the hot box off. And we'll come back to the hot box when it cools down a bit. It's supposed to be a bit cooler this week. We might even get some rain. You've heard that before. Right, so we have 2 pieces. One that's still with its new growth, which is the better piece of plant, and the other smaller piece with its new growth knocked off. It will grow another one. It's got root activity. It's got, you know, the potential to put another one out. My decision, let me just rescue this big bark. We do not waste this bark. I can't get it again. That just gets put in a saucepan with some boiling water for 5 minutes and then left to dry. So it gets sterilised. It doesn't affect the hardness of it. And then I've got crocking or large bark for things that need large bark forevermore. Every time I repot, I rescue it. I'm not wasting stuff like that. It's far too good. Right, so we've got a little bit of clearing up to do. Not a lot. And then we will come back and we are going to do something quite different with these. I'll be back. Right, new plan. No holy clay pot, therefore Cattleya very top heavy. Therefore 2 big lumps of lava rock in the bottom of my wide shallow plastic pot. Wired in such a way that I held the plant to decide where I wanted it to be in the pot and put the wire through to enable me to pot it in that position, and then did the same with the other piece. Yeah? This is the piece that would be a little uncertain where the new growth is going to come from. So the wire is already in position in the right place through the holes that I want. There'll be no point in putting all the bark and everything in and then trying to put the wire up through. Now this lovely rock hard bark that I said I don't waste, it's going straight back in the pot. Straight back in the pot. And that will become the base of where this plant's going to grow. And the next thing is we've got medium bark. Well, it's a mix This is classed as medium bark, but in with it is some smaller pieces. You could say it's almost a mix, but it's what I could get at the time. And I want enough of this on the surface for any roots to get into prior to getting down to the bottom of the pot, where they'll be almost in air if they get given the chance. So that needs a little bit more underneath it. If you're going to wire a plant in, you need to get the height of the plant right first, because once you put the wire on and pull it tight, that's the height of the plant. You can't get any underneath, so you have to get it right, and I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to push one wire across there, like so, and then the other one, I'm just going to take the length off because they're sort of getting in the way. Never mind the plant falling over, that's just about to get grabbed hold of. It's got bark underneath it. Most of the new roots are pointing towards the middle of the pot, and all I want to do now is twist that like so, and then holding the plant nicely, we will get the big pliers on that and twist. Pull and twist. Now this is what I have to do with all my bonsai trees. They have to be wired in, because by definition a bonsai is virtually always top heavy. It's a tree in a small pot. And it's outside. What do we get outside that we don't get in the grow room? Wind. Wind and rain and storms. So, you've got to have your plant secure in its pot. It's got to be done. That's nice and secure there. There's no wobble at all. And we will worry about topping the bark up around the roots in a minute. Right, now let's have a look at this one. Now that's where the new growth broke off. That was the previous growth. I'm not going to take any of the old bulbs off, because the only one I would take off are these two leafless ones, and that's half the plant. And it would take out this one that's actually got a nice leaf, and it is potentially capable of a new growth out of there as well as somewhere around here. So I'm just going to plonk that sort of, it's going to have to go that way, like that. Again, some media underneath, get the plant at the sort of height I want. It's a little bit taller than the other one, so be it. And then I'm going to put the wire this time through there. You just have to find a place where you're not liable to garrot any new growths. We have a job on this piece because I've just already done that, probably with my fingers. That's careless on my part. I wasn't watching what I was doing. When I grabbed hold of this, I was my mind was thinking I could show how easy sometimes things come out of clay pots, and while I was concentrating on grabbing the plant to demonstrate that, I forgot I had a new growth sticking out. The little brain can't cope with too much all at once. And that was just one of those times. It was a shame, that was a nice strong new growth. And it's now lost. Well, there's no good crying over it. It's gone now, isn't it? All we've got to do now is wait for another one. It's like if you just missed the bus. You just stand at the bus stop and wait for another one. Unless you live out in the country like I do, in which case you've got an hour to wait. You just want to go home, have a coffee and come back later. Right. So that's basically got the two pieces of plant nice and secure. Now all we've got to do is cover the roots up. And we've got nowhere near enough media, which I'm surprised. Normally I've got too much. Oh no, I've still got a bit in the jug. Jolly good. Might just about be enough. There's no jamming down, firming or anything like this with Cattleyas. You just make sure the media goes into all the holes, and don't worry if there's an air gap. Cattleyas quite like that to a degree. And this is quite hard bark. So you don't have to worry if it's sort of slightly up the pseudo bulb either, because you know the stuff is going to dry so fast when it's watered. Right, so that's root tips covered up, secured by wire and not top heavy because of the two large pieces of lava rock. And I'm happy with that as a change. And I'm happy that the change is not dramatic. The roots are still in bark. They were in bark, they're still in bark. And I think just the change of media to fresh bark, they will hardly notice the difference. Now that's going to go and get run under the tap to wash all the dust off, because this medium bark, well, you can see, is dusty. So I will use the tap to wash it and give it a good wash, and then I'll come back out and the RO unit's now going to have to go on tomorrow. I've got to do the post office this afternoon. I don't like having too many things in one day. So tomorrow we will get the RO unit going and replenish the stocks. But yeah, so I shall rinse this with tap water, and then I will come back in and give it another rinse with RO water just to get the tap water out, you know, because it's got chlorine and stuff in it. And that will just freshen it up. And that's that one done. One done, probably 3 to go that I'm interested in doing a similar thing with. My apple blossom is definitely 1, and my Laelia anceps is 2, and I'm debating whether to do my purpurata. We shall see, because again the new growth's right on the edge of the pot, and that's 2 plants in the same pot, and only one's got a new growth. That's in a bit of a sad state. But anyway, that's one done, and yeah, something totally different. I don't think I've put a Cattleya in an environment like that before. Hopefully it will prosper. So there we go. I was just going to do the old you know, prosper, live long and prosper, but instead I'll go, let's keep it viral. You can look that up. See you next time.